Hope everybody's having a good day. Welcome here to Sports Talk Network channel. Specifically, welcome to Talking Packers with Steve, where I do talk about all 32. The helmets in the background here are for my games of the week, each and every week. So for these episodes, I'll try to steer camera for as long as I can, but we'll see about that. But I'm interested, want to share that. Welcome to the show. Like I said, I'll do my predictions here for week 1 of the NFL football season. Hoping actually to have what's his name again? NorbCam? Yeah, NorbCam. He's very highly popular. One Seahawks fan. Hope to have him on. Oh, dang it. What the heck's going on with my camera? Sorry about that. Everybody, hopefully it stays. Smile for the camera. But anyways, week 1 predictions. Like I said, hopefully I have NorbCam here as it is Seahawks week 2 in Green Bay. For the Packers versus the Seahawks. I guess I'm on Twitter. You can follow me there at talking_Packers. On how what do you think, or what is your Super Bowl predictions for 2017? And I said you can reach it if you want to. And I had Steelers versus Seahawks, Patriots versus Packers, Raiders versus Buccaneers, and then for the fourth one, any other combination, any other AFC NFC combination that you think would be your prediction for the Super Bowl. So far right now, that is leading. Still 12 hours left, 13 votes right now. 54% say any combination, 46% say Patriots Packers. I predicted actually myself last week here on this very same program. But as we head into week 1, the biggest thing going on is Ezekiel Elliott and his situation with his suspension. For me, the game of the week is the kickoff to the season. 2017 season, the Chiefs battling the Patriots in New England, defending reigning Super Bowl champions, to raise their banner tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm pumped. I'm ready for the season to begin. Gosh darn it. Anyways, I guess I'll just continue this way. Looking forward for the season to begin. I'm ready for all the games to start, including the Packers facing the Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be a great matchup there. Like I said, I'll go through all the games, my predictions. I did want to give my thoughts on Ezekiel Elliott in this situation. I found it interesting, and you're welcome to check out my other YouTube video here on this channel, where I talk about I think it's breaking news: Ezekiel Elliott suspended 6 games. I think that's what the title of it is, verbatim, if not close to it. But anyways, breaking news video about Ezekiel Elliott, where I at that point said, "Oh, I wish it was stronger, and I wanted it to be a full year, and that suspension was a slap on the wrist, and this and that." And now, to this point, and all the legal BS going on, which I guess is part of it, but all that going on, and he's still going to be able to play in week 1. The NFL didn't want to try to be as strong as they try to have shoulder strength and not have him so the suspension with week 1, but let him play in week 1. Now, I know the way they're perceiving it outside, or to the audience, to the NFL universe, is, WWE calls us the WWE universe, but in the NFL universe and the NFL fans that know they're not, it's just what's going on. I find it very interesting. One of those emojis, which, by the way, the Emoji Movie, it was okay. But anyways, one of those emojis with the something screwy look, that one, I would be using 100 times here in this video if I could. Heck, I would have it on as the thumbnail of this video. We'll be looking with questions as well, because it's just interesting, convenient, weird, I guess, that the NFL, and much of their fighting and much of their holding stands of the 6 games and everything, as it being upheld, that part of it, yes, and the suspension being upheld. But with everything going on, to allowing him to play Week 1 in an actually televised game for the NFL against the New York Giants division foe, I would say arguably the strongest division foe to Dallas for the division. So for the NFL and for the business side of it, they're letting him play and letting it happen, and the Giants will just have to deal with it. Whereas the Washington team doesn't have to, because that would be the end of the 6-game suspension for Ezekiel Elliott if it actually does start with Week 2. Just saying. And hopefully it does. But either way, however it may go, I certainly do hope that he does learn his lesson, and for his sake, he turns things around, because if he doesn't, he'll be out of the NFL just as fast as he came in. But it'd be what it be, right? Moving on. And since it doesn't really bother the Packers too much, and he would be out against the Packers anyway, no matter when the suspension would have started, Week 1 or otherwise. Packers-Cowboys game here early in the season. No Zeke. No Zeke at all. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on that here first. Before I get to the rest of this, standings, with the rest of the schedule for Week 1. I apologize. There, if I can speak. And hopefully I can get my camera back as well. But for the rest of the schedule, I'll do that. Also, NorbCam will be joining me. Seahawks fan. Super fan, whatever you want to call him. YouTuber extraordinaire. Awesome guy. Cool dude. Kind soul. Whatever you want to label him, that's what he is. One of those things. He certainly is. But he is certainly also going to be on here. We're going to talk about the Seahawks-Packer matchup. As it is Seahawks week here in Green Bay, it's Packer week in Seattle, or for the Seahawks fans nationwide. There's Seahawks fans everywhere. I'm sure there's Seahawks fans here in the state of Wisconsin, just like I'm sure there's Packer fans in the state of Washington. So, yeah. I mean, when I lived in Hawaii, at least I saw one individual representing one of the 32. Each team having one person technically that I saw, at least I ran into, especially when I went to the Pro Bowl game back in 2008 when I was stationed in Hawaii. Schofield Barracks specifically. All right. I'm gonna get my camera back a little bit, but anyways, thanks for those that are watching live now. We'll be watching the archive later. I apologize for the whole issue with my camera. I mean, it's just me and my laptop. I don't see any other issue going on. But for those that are watching live, especially those even watching archive, NorbCam will be here. Don't worry. I'm sure he'll let his fans know too. He'll when he tweets out after the show of what time he actually hopped in, if that's all they want to see. I'm his part of it, but that's fine as well. The more the merrier. Welcome to subscribe to the channel. I've been slowly growing here in the past couple of months. I was floundering and floating at 122 subscribers, and now I'm at a brisk 181 subscribers. So, a slow climb to the road to 1K. And as I said, if I get to 200 subscribers, whenever I do here shortly, hopefully, maybe tomorrow morning, who knows, I will be doing a video soon thereafter, doing my first ever Q&A video. And it can be about anything. You can ask me a football question that you want to know about me, or just a life question, or whatever you feel that you want me to answer. I will answer in that Q&A. To an extent, obviously, but I'm pretty sure 98% of them I'll be able to answer. I already have a couple written in my handy dandy notebook for that video. So, all right, let's get to the rest of the schedule as we wait for NorbCam to join us. For Week 1, let's start the season with my game of the week, as I have the helmets behind me for the game of the week. Again, for those just joining me, that's what the helmets behind me are for. Each week I'll have what I think is the biggest game of the week, the game of the week in my eyes. Chiefs against the Patriots. I'm going Patriots over the Chiefs. 28-21. Close game. But you can't go wrong with picking New England. Gosh darn it. Anyways, I want to apologize again for my whole camera issue. I'll get this fixed for tomorrow and then moving forward. But anyways, Jets versus the Bills. I have the Bills getting the win over the Jets because I don't think the Jets are going to be having too many wins. As I even said last week on the show at the start of the season, and people are welcome to check that out if you're watching here for the first time or you're a subscriber to NorbCam here on YouTube and watching here solely because he kindly asked you to over there on his channel. Later on, I mean, afterwards. But I really was really finding 2 wins for New York this season, and this wasn't one of them. I'm sorry. I have the Buffalo Bills defeating the New York Jets 35-13. Pittsburgh Steelers going up against Jay, talking WBJ, following him on Twitter at talking WB. Just the letter J. His Cleveland Browns at home, starting off hot, trying to get a win against a big team that probably will be taking that division by the cojones, so to speak, let's say. So I really don't see any team, even Baltimore. Kyron Chase, my co-host for Wrestling Ramble, I don't see even his team making any big swings and punches to try to throw in or even battle Pittsburgh here in this division. Not saying their games aren't going to be tough and Ravens aren't going to be anything. I am not saying that at all. To Kyron or any other Baltimore Raven fan. I'm just saying Pittsburgh is the real deal. And here they're going to be getting the win in Cleveland. But I think it's actually going to be closer than you think. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers 27, the Cleveland Browns 17. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Miami Dolphins. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's not happening this week because of Hurricane Irma, which I understand. That is more important. I want those football players to be with their families, loved ones, and others, friends as well. They're important to people, friends. Sometimes friends are bigger in a person's life than family sometimes. But anyways, point being is those that will be affected by Hurricane Irma, of the path of it, heading to the state of Florida. I know a couple of YouTubers, Lindsay Bell, who is a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer cheerleader and YouTuber, and Danny Duncan Vlogs here on YouTube as well. Good friends of mine here on YouTube and on Twitter. Or just in general, I should just say. But anyways, I know them and I've talked to them, and they're all prepared in their own way for what's coming. And I know there's some in Florida that don't even think it is going to be coming to Florida. They'll be moving so much from it that it won't even impact them. But I'm pretty sure it will, and I might even think it stayed at a Cat 5. Even though some of the models are saying Cat 3, Cat 4, Category 3, Category 4. But point being is football should be the least of worries there in Florida at all. Your own personal safety as an individual, even as a sports fan, even as those that do fantasy football. Me, I do fantasy football up to up the up the ASS. I got 10 leagues I'm part of, 10, the ace. 6 of them on NFL.com, which is the maximum. For those that do it on NFL.com, know that that's true. And I do 4 on ESPN.com. So I'm not saying I'm special or cool by doing that many. I'm sure I spread myself too thin doing that along with the podcast and my channel, but I do that and I enjoy it. I manage 2 of them, and both of them that I manage as a league manager are on NFL.com. I actually enjoy NFL.com ones than ESPN. It just seems like, for me, aesthetically and visually, I don't know, I'm a weird person that what makes me interested one over the other. And I said this about comparative between Netflix and Hulu. It's the way things are set for you on my Kindle device, on my laptop, on whatever I'm using on any device, that it just looks easier to manage and just better looking aesthetically and more professional. I don't know. It's hard to put it here, but it's hard for me to explain it truly of why I like one or the other. But again, that's just my opinion there. But point being is, even with those that do fantasy football and this Tampa Bay player, Dolphin player that I was going to start isn't going to play, how dare they? No, it's what was best for them and best for the NFL. Now, if by the good grace of the Lord above that they didn't have the same bye week being week 11, they probably would have had to play this game this week, and it would have been in a neutral site. My guess where that would have probably excuse me, probably would have been as I look here at the schedule for week one of all 32 teams and the road teams. I don't know. I would actually have to say Steelers. They're in Pittsburgh as they're on the road facing Cleveland. Has already predicted that game. So who knows what that? But that probably would have been the case because I know it sucks for the Buccaneers and Dolphins that they don't get to have a bye week and all that other stuff. And yes, I know since what was it 1974 to 1990, the NFL had 16 game schedules and no one had bye weeks, and people just had to freaking deal with it, right? And those watching live, welcome to like the video as well as I'm talking here. Just want to bring that up. But anyways, but this is 2017, and this has been the normal since 1991 season or 1990 or 92, whatever. You know that time went between then and now. There have been bye weeks, and it sucks part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Miami Dolphins that they're going to be the only two this season that don't get that. But again, it was best for business. I guess it's best for those teams to do so and to postpone this game. There's another thing I wanted to bring up, and I knew I was going to be able to bring it up as I go through my predictions for week one, because that being one of the games that was supposed to happen in week one. Now, when we get to week 11 and we get to this matchup, I'll predict the game at that point. But if they did have this game this week, which, again, they're not going to, so we played week 11, still it's a Miami Dolphin home game. Because think about it this way, I think Miami was even more reluctant to have a neutral site game and lose another home game that they already lost because they're going to be in a game in London, which I'm sure in that case didn't have really too much of a say. The NFL picked those teams, and the Dolphins are one of them. Not saying that all Dolphins players are hating to go to that. I'm just saying in general. So they already lost a home game to that. They don't want to lose a home game because of this. As much as, yes, it's serious and the hurricane and football should be the last thing on the mind, but still in the thought process of an NFL player, an NFL owner, an NFL individual for those organizations, I understand how much that sucks to you, or for the Dolphins specifically, to lose another home game. But it is what it is. And here we have Lapis Gamer here in the live chat. I want to get to the individual's comments here. I think Zeke will play the whole season if the NFL had done this long. At first, I thought they could have had the game in Tampa Bay, but that's also in Florida. True. NFL just announced a hurricane is a Type 5 or Category 5. That is biased, but I think. So thanks for the comments. Like I said, you and others, welcome to like this video as we go along here in this episode. Like I said, NorbCam will be joining us later on here for the Seahawks-Packers matchup. And I continue with my predictions. Raiders Central and Raiders underscore 1995. They're Oakland Raiders and Raider John. Facing the Tennessee Titans, I have the Oakland Raiders getting the win on the road. Great way to start off the season against a Tennessee Titan team that I might still think of the old school Titans that are not that great. And I mean Titans in the last couple of years. But I'm going to have the Raiders defeat the Tennessee Titans 35-21. Raiders over the Titans. The Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington team. I have Philadelphia over Washington 21-17. Panthers 49ers. I have the Panthers over the 49ers. JB of Team Boy TV or Ask Team Boy TV and the host of Team Boy TV Live every, I believe, actually Wednesday night. That will be for during the season. So actually tonight, later on, they'll be going live over there, Team Boy TV Live. But his Carolina Panthers, I have over the San Francisco 49ers 35-13. Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans in Houston, J.J. Watt. And the Texans, the Jaguars are the Texans over the Jaguars 24-13. Cardinals against the NFC North Detroit Lions. I have actually the Lions winning this game. I have the Lions over Arizona 27-21. Falcons against the Chicago Bears. And no, Mitchell Trubisky will not be starting, as much as some Chicago Bears fans would want that to be so. But you never know. Maybe a situation will rise that he will have to be thrust in right away there in week one at some point. Maybe even at halftime if Atlanta is kicking their butt. You never know. Probably not, but just never know. I would hope so because I think he can be like Dak Prescott last year and just surprise people and take the league by storm. And the Bears being playoff contenders for the next couple of years. I'm sure Slick Daddy would be happy to hear that, as a Chicago Bears fan that he is. Or as he's known here on my wrestling podcast, Side OTRS Central. And then we have here the Ravens and the Bengals. Let's have a 4 Kyron Chase's Baltimore Ravens against the Cincinnati Bengals. I have the Bengals beating the Ravens 35-21. Colts against the Rams. Colts backup quarterback. Rams don't seem to have a quarterback. It's my opinion. I have, though, the Rams over the Colts 13-3. And then the Giants against the Cowboys. Dak Prescott obviously playing. Ezekiel Elliott probably will be playing. I have the Cowboys defeating the Giants 28-13. Cowboys over the Giants there. Doubleheader for Monday Night Football. Again, like I said, I'll do the Packers-Seahawks prediction when I'm talking to NorbCam. But doubleheader for Monday Night Football. The Saints against Nada's fan on Twitter. Sports Gaming Universe here on YouTube. Sports Gaming Universe. Just want to say that again. I'm going to check out his channel. Great content there. I have the Minnesota Vikings over the New Orleans Saints. Adrian Peterson already making his return to Minnesota in that new stadium there for the Vikings. And the Vikings beating the Saints. I think that's their first game there in the new stadium. So opening that up with a win, 27-13 Vikings over the Saints. And then the San Diego Chargers facing Glass of Team Boy TV Live. His Denver Broncos. I have his Broncos defeating the Chargers of Los Angeles now. Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Rams. And soon to be Las Vegas Raiders. Whatever. Point being is I have the Broncos over the Chargers 35-23. And then for the Seahawks Packers, like I said, I'll give my prediction here a little soon. AFC's Evan's game, we're saying Raiders number 1, Patriots number 2, Steelers number 3, Texans number 4, Chiefs number 5, and the Bills number 6. Okay, cool. Like I said, you're welcome to check out my video from last week that I don't remember if you were even here live, but last week when I did my predictions, I had my top 6. I don't have the paper in front of me of what that was, but some of them sound familiar. Being in my playoff picture in this season of 2017. But that pretty much is the predictions for the entire week. Like I said, hopefully we'll be able to join me here shortly. We'll be talking the Seahawks-Packers matchup and going on from there. So I think it's going to be a big game. Obviously going to be a big game. Good way to start for both teams. The winner of this one having a jockey position of out of the gates for the NFC conference. For the NFC. You know, you have, oh, there we go. You have those teams, big teams like Seattle and Green Bay, facing off against each other to start the season. It's going to be big, and it's going to be glorious, and I think it's going to be a knockout drag-out fight all the way, all the way to the end of the game. But I do think Green Bay is going to end up winning it. I guess I'll just give my prediction now. Packers over the Seahawks, 23-13. Green Bay getting the win in that game right there. I think it's squared away. Like I said, this game right here, this matchup, Chiefs, Patriots, I have as my game of the week. Game of the week. I'm moving forward. It's going to be a doozy, a knockout drag-out fight for those two teams. And they get to start off the NFL season. I can't stress that enough, because most of you already know, though. But still, I'm so excited. Can't hide that the NFL season is literally less than 24 hours away from this time right now. Or literally probably exactly 24 hours from this time right now. 7:32 p.m. Central Time here in the Badger State of Wisconsin. So, Patriots, Chiefs, I'm sure they'll be able to have their own knockout drag-out fight. Like I said, that's why they are my game of the week here for week 1. Not just because they kick off the week, because they have the reigning defending Super Bowl champions, and they have a Kansas City Chiefs team that going to do things this year too. So 2 teams like that ready to get their season started. There you go. And don't be surprised if the Chiefs win. Even though I didn't predict it here tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City won. But that's the type of knockout way. That's the type of way to start off this gosh darn season. It's like you should start off every season. A matchup like this here with your defending champions at home, getting to be the only show in town, the only game on television. on Thursday. That's what the point of having this Thursday game for the opening week, and then ever so subsequently being on the NFL Network and CBS, and then just NFL Network. I think they still have that relationship there with the networks for Thursday nights. But here at the kickoff, it's on NBC, Thursday night on NBC. Then NBC, as they usually do, have Sunday night games. Monday night has a doubleheader because in week 17, they don't have a Monday night football game. All games are on Sunday for all 32, just like in week 1 here. Well, not week 1. Thursday and Monday night games. But point being is, you know what I mean. Just like week 4 of the preseason, all 32 in one night or one day there in that thinking. So, yeah, I know. Maybe I'm a little too antsy, but I'm ready. I'm ready for the season, as I've always been wearing here, my Packer polo shirt. So I have my Packers represented. And then, like I said, my matchup of the week, each and every week, if you stop by here on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Central start, I'll have my matchups for each week of what I think is the game of the week, in my opinion. And this week, Chiefs, Patriots be that for me. And welcome, Michael Andrews. Thank you. And Lapis Gamer, Michael Andrews, and anybody else that's watching live, you're welcome, more than welcome to like this video. Let other people know about it, and they can smash that like button as well. Michael Andrews here in the chat saying Packs destroyed the Seahawks in the last season game. Well, it's only going to be interesting. And that's true also. Lapis Gamer saying it's a new season, Michael, new players. But I still hope that to be true. Green Bay to defeat Seattle. I don't know if we're going to destroy them. Seattle's a pretty good foe. Russell Wilson, former Wisconsin Badger, always will cheer on for him to do well. To be quite honest, I want the Packers Seahawks to face each other every single season, every single year in the NFC Championship game, because you have a former Wisconsin Badger and Russell Wilson up against the Wisconsin NFL team, obviously the Green Bay Packers, our team, the team that I'm a shareholder to. I'm also still in line to get season tickets for box seats, for stadium seats, or luxury seats as it's called, I guess, the proper name for it. We're trying to be a season ticket holder. And I'm actually getting through that line pretty quickly, as I've seen each and every year, the differences each time. But either way, I'm looking forward to this season. I hope you are. Again, another reason to smash the like button. If you are ready for this NFL season, if you're ready to cheer on your team, whatever team it is out 32, whether it's one of these two teams, whether you're a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs or a fan of the New England Patriots, like my good friend Jamie Thomas or an ex-girlfriend, or a fan of whatever team that you cheer for, you're ready for this season to finally start. Done with this preseason crap. Seriously, we should really get rid of the preseason. Maybe one game. One preseason game, maybe 2 if you absolutely have to, but not 4, just 2 at the most. At the most would be nice to not have any and let them go in cold turkey. But then again, it's all about player safety in that way. But college does it, and in any game you can really get injured. Obviously, see last year, a couple years ago, when Jordy Nelson got injured in preseason, out for the year. It happens. So I kind of like the NFL to adopt what college does. No preseason games. You go right into it, cold turkey, see how you do right away. You learn your team thing from there. And there you still can have a 90-man roster, right? You can have a 90-man roster start of the season. You have to cap that off into the first 4 weeks, the first quarter of the season. Then you have to have it to 52. Then you have your team set for the rest of the season after week 4. Again, of the regular season, not of the preseason. Because guess what? You have the 90-man roster during the summer, during that offseason, and during the offseason workouts and otherwise, and then training camp and this and that. Through 4 preseason games, or really 3, and then the cutoffs happen, really, and then officially the 4th game. A point being is that you do that. Maybe after the first 2 weeks, you have to get it down to 75. Then the next 2 weeks in the regular season, you get it down to the 53. Just my idea. I think it would be interesting, surely entertaining for me, if they had that, doing it that way and having no preseason games in the NFL. And again, at the very most, having 2. But then again, that's just me. And I'd like to welcome my guest here, NorbCam, Seattle Seahawks fan there. Washington. How are you doing this evening? And what are your thoughts on my thoughts here as I was just rambling about preseason and everything? You like my proposal to the NFL, no preseason, and let them go cold turkey to start the NFL seasons?
Well, I only caught the tail end because I just got in the door, so I missed the early part of the rant. Although I think all I heard was you saying that basically you want to have no preseason games, just go right into it.
Yeah, pretty much at the most, too. I mean, this four preseason BS is kind of, I don't know, just to me personally, and maybe others enjoyed or want it more, and for the players. But I just think it would be best. And in my rant, I was saying about having no preseason games, you still have a 90-man roster by week 5. So after 4 weeks, after 4 games, really that's when teams start getting bye weeks, anyways. At that point, then them getting to that 53-man roster and then going on from there, I think to me and to fans as well, of all 32. Having something like that structured would be actually more entertaining for the first few games and for the start of the season for people like me that do those pick'em leagues and stuff like that, or pick'em games and stuff. The unknown, any game could have the Chiefs, could be Patriots. In that situation, they're kicking off the season here, as I have for the game of the week being tomorrow night's kickoff game. So to me, I would think that it would actually be better for the fans and even for the NFL as cash cow money company as they are, to have no preseason games and have maybe even 18-game schedule and going from there, still having the 90-man roster, having that 4 weeks to fill out your rosters and to get it down to 53, just like you do in the summer. It's like you do with the preseason games, only this time these games are still for real as they're kicking off the season. But then when we get to week 5, then you have all 32 in their rosters set. That was really my synopsis, my rant, my idea for things for the NFL.
Right. I know. I think I used to despise preseason, especially as a season ticket holder. You have to buy. You still pay your whole package, and you got to pay for 2 preseason home games, and they didn't count and everything like that. And then my concern about injuries during the preseason always sucks. I think they could maybe shorten it down by 1 game, take it from 4 to maybe start by doing it with 3, because really the last preseason game that's of any value really is always the third one. So maybe they could just scale it back and to sort of force them to make it work with 3. But I wouldn't mind seeing it at least shortened down by 1, just to shorten the preseason time 1 week, make them figure things out by then. I could see that happening.
Yeah,
I'd be for
yeah,
that.
yeah. Even 3. I mean, I guess as much as I was saying 0 or 2, it just seems like the preseason, especially the fourth one, is completely unnecessary. That's why it's also they have all the games for all 32 in one day or one night. There, just as they do for week 17 of the regular season, all games on
Right.
Sunday to finish off the season, and then the Black Monday happening afterwards for coachings and stuff like that. But anyways, let's head into our matchup: Seahawks Packers, Week 1 at
Yes.
Lambeau
Right.
Field.
Right. This is what we're really talking about here.
Exactly, the true game of the week: Green Bay against Seattle.
Yeah. As far as we're concerned, this is the game of the week.
Exactly, it certainly should be for our fan bases. Seattle wanting to actually be able to beat Green Bay, and Green Bay wanting to um, be able to get a stranglehold and get the leg up here in the conference, not the division. I'm in the conference. I'm in the NFC over Seattle, and Seattle doing the same, because I think this game, even though yes, it's just week 1, and both teams have many games to go, obviously, that this is a jumping off point for both franchises and of this 2017 season facing off against each other, or where they could stand by the end of the season in the NFC standings, who could be 1 and 2, or even just above each other when we get to playoff time. Because even as I said before you were able to jump on, that I wish every single year we had Seattle versus Green Bay in the NFC Championship game every single year, because we have Russell Wilson, former Wisconsin Badger, and then we have the
Hmm.
Green Bay Packers, obviously, on my side over here. So I wouldn't mind seeing your team every single year in the NFC Championship game against Green Bay. And I think, because I do also think that Seattle and Green Bay are the two best teams in the NFC,
Yeah.
let alone in the NFL. So certainly having those two, and it might happen this year, who knows? But this game starting off And with all the influxes any team does each and every year, or overturn turnover in Seattle over there and in Green Bay here, certainly going to be violent trenches. And I think the winner definitely getting a leg up, even after only week one to the start of the season.
Well, I agree with you there. As long as we can have the NFC Championship game here in Seattle, I'm all for that every single year. I'm totally in. Count me in. I'll sign up for that right now.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
well, if that ever happens with me, I'll have to get myself a plane ticket and head there to Lincoln and go to my first ever road game because I've never been to a Packer road game. I don't think ever. Oh,
That would be a good one for you to that'd be a good one for you to go to. But these two teams, while we haven't met in the NFC Championship game all that many times, we've had the big one. It seems like almost every year somehow we end up playing you guys, even though we're in completely different divisions. Somehow it seems like every year we face off against each other, and pretty much as long as you're playing, whoever's got the home field advantage pretty much comes out on top. I think you guys have won pretty much every game we played in Lambeau since 1999, if my history is correct.
Mhm.
And you guys, I can't remember the last time the Packers have won here in Seattle, but I know that every game I've been to anyway, when you played up in CenturyLink, we have won the game. So the odds are definitely historically not in our favor for this Sunday, but records are meant to be broken, and I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to edge you guys going into this game and break the Lambeau streak of this millennium, of this century, and come away with the win by the skin of our teeth. Maybe a field goal, a last-second field goal, or maybe a last-second miss by you guys, something to that nature. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I say 27-24 Green Bay over Seattle. So I definitely have it as a close game here in Green Bay. And certainly would be interesting if this time we do meet in the NFC Championship game and not just in any other round. I mean, heck, it would be weird actually. In some, at least to me, it would be weird if Green Bay facing Seattle, two best in the teams in the NFC, facing off in the wild card round. Like I don't ever see that happening again with our teams. One of us would be getting one of those number one and number two and getting a bye and facing each other at that point. But this would be interesting if that was the case. Though in my predictions last week on the show here in the beginning of the 2017 season, I did have a rematch. I did have the Detroit Lions facing the Seattle Seahawks in the wild card round in my predictions for the playoffs and how everything worked out in the standing and blah, blah, blah in that way. So that was kind of interesting in its own right. But Green Bay, Seattle, I do have Green Bay edging out Seattle. I did see your music video that you do each and every year for the Seahawks schedule for each season. I gotta say the song was better last year, but still was great content this year. Because I actually watched your old one after I watched the new one, and comparing contrast.
Mm-hmm.
But still great work. And I did see your prediction for your opening game against Green Bay, and obviously everything else as well. So hey, you never know.
Same score, except flip the numbers. You got that Packers 27-24. I got Seahawks 27-24. So the odds makers are giving you guys the field goal advantage. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, the fact that the home team usually gets a 3-point edge anyway. Pretty
Right.
much, it's a pick'em game. It's pretty even. So I think it could go either way. But I think it's a pretty good number. It's going to be something like that. It's going to come down to a score very close to I think what you and I are predicting.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
find out who comes out on top.
Yeah. I'd be very surprised if as we call it in the wrestling world, pro wrestling is a squash match, as someone running away with it. I don't see Green Bay winning 45-3 or even Seattle winning 45-3. I don't see a game going that way for either of our teams. I'm sure our
Well,
our
last year you handed it to us pretty good last year, and we played pretty terrible. Russell Wilson, I think, had 5 interceptions last year when we played you in Lambeau, and it was a bad
yeah.
game for us. I would like to think we're not going to repeat that kind of performance, and obviously make this thing a lot closer game. But I don't know. The teams they have a lot of the same pieces from last year in some ways. A lot of the same veteran and strong players of each side. Obviously, the quarterbacks are the same. A lot of the receiving core is the same. You guys have some new guys in there, particularly Martellus Bennett stepping in there, who's a beast in his own right as tight end. and but we've got a few more pieces ourselves, particularly on defense, and so it's gonna be fun to see how we shape up from where we were last year. But I'm just curious, what makes you think, what gives you the edge over us in this matchup?
Right, yeah, and actually, I was just gonna ask you that too, but I'll go first as you asked first. Where I think the edge is going to be is with wide receiver secondary battle, meaning wide receiver secondary, our secondary against your wide receiving core. I think that matchup has us in the favor as you go with the quarterbacks and overall offense and defense. But I think the main matchup, the game changer, the difference maker, even though some would say special teams could be that too, but for me is going to be that matchup. I think it's us, our corners, and your wide receivers. I think that's where I have not only the edge to Green Bay, but I have that being the difference maker. Again, to me, of giving the 3 point swing to my side, predicting the 27-24. Where do you think the edge is for Seattle to get the 3 point swing and to have a chance to get the win on Sunday?
Well, there's a lot of intriguing matchups to go along with the point you just made. I think where it will be an interesting battle with game within the game to watch is, we're going to have a opposite Richard Sherman at cornerback. We're going to have our rookie making his first time here in the NFL, Shaquille Griffin, on the other side, and he's been getting all the first team reps in preseason, doing pretty well, but he's still got still learning the ropes. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers, who historically, whenever Russell or Richard Sherman's on the field, he generally does not throw his direction, which means I see him throwing a lot of passes over to the rookie side. So that's going to be a huge measurement to see how we hold up against Rodgers, against the rookie. If he can hold his own and maybe make some big plays over there, get some incomplete passes where normally you might get a conversion on third down, I think that makes a big difference. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I see as being a potential, plus on your side. However, it's not just all about the secondary, because the secondary is often only as good as the pressure that the line can generate. And I'm very optimistic about our defensive line, given the pickups that we got, particularly with the trade of Jermaine Kearse to the New York Jets for Sheldon Richardson. I think he's going to be a huge addition to this team, being that we haven't had an interior pass rusher in a while. We have great pass rushers on the outside with Bennett and Averill and Frank Clark, but nothing really up the middle that we've seen in a while. And having Sheldon Richardson gives us that dimension. So I feel that Rodgers is going to have a little more pressure in his face coming this Sunday. So when he tries to throw the ball where he might have this nice clean pocket to throw through, I think he's going to be facing a little bit tougher challenge with Richardson in the middle there. So that could be the wild card that just sort of disrupts Rodgers enough to where he may not be able to get the time he normally can get when he's stepping up in the pocket.
Yeah, and our issue
So that could be it.
Yeah, no, good. I was just going to say for us, our issues is during the preseason, from what I noticed, and even was broadcast actually, our offensive line, Josh Sitton, having some issues, giving up some sacks. Von Miller during against Denver in that preseason game, and then also against Washington team in that matchup there in Washington. So our offensive line against your ferocious defensive line is where I'm worried about. Where I actually would give the edge to your side there. But like I said, for me, being that secondary wide receiver matchup for Green Bay and Seattle's wide receiving core, that I see that being the catalyst of change and being the biggest thing to me of why I believe that Green Bay is going to get the win on Sunday over Seattle. But like I said, there are things to worry about Green Bay. We're not a perfect team, and our biggest flaw being that of the offensive line to protect Aaron Rodgers. Because as great as Aaron is, if you can't block from any quarterback's going to get sacked and won't be able to dance around as much at all, let alone as much as he can. Because if you don't give him the time, if you're not able to block long enough, you might be getting some pick sixes there. So hopefully that's not the case,
Right.
but it certainly could be, because I say that would be our biggest deficiency heading into the game. And I guess just to ask you, I don't know if you brought it up, but what would you say being your biggest deficiency, your biggest worry in a section of the Seahawks roster that could be something to trip you up?
Well, I think, and this is as far as Seattle's concerned, there's always a concern about the offensive line. We did make some off-season trades and pickups and to try to shore up that offensive line, but that's kind of the narrative coming out of Seattle is, what kind of offensive line are we going to have this year? Because last year we had not a very good offensive line. But I think, and I've been saying this from the beginning, is that I think that Seattle, the story, by the time the season comes around, the offensive line will not be the story. I think Seattle's offensive line is going to be much more solid this year. And with health back to Russell Wilson and hopefully keeping our running backs relatively healthy, and having Eddie Lacy in there is a nice battering ram as an addition to our running back core. I feel like we're going to be much more solid in getting back to that running game that we had been so dominant in for several years until last year. We've always been like a top 10 rushing team until last season when we dropped to like number 25 or something like that. So we need to get back to that top 10, top 15 ranking. And I think if we do that, then okay, in a few minutes, I'm almost done. Okay. Kids always need the attention. So I think if we can do that and hopefully we establish our running game right off the bat with this team, then I think where we go as the running game goes. And so, but I'm optimistic we'll get that going because, like I said, the line has been shored up. We've got Russell Wilson. Hopefully, doesn't get hurt like he did last year, where he was hurt from game one and was never the same after that. I'm a little concerned because Thomas Rawls, who I've been saying he's my guy all along, he's listed as questionable with a bum ankle, which just sucks because he's been dealing with that injury. It just seems like ever since he hurt it on his rookie year. It just he hasn't quite been able to stay on the field. So the nice thing is, though, we still got we've got Procise, we got Eddie Lacy, we've got this new rookie Chris Carson who tore it up in preseason. He looks pretty good. So we got kind of this running back by committee going on. And Eddie Lacy, I feel that he's going to want to prove something to his old team. So when we get those 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s, goal line, Eddie Lacy hand him the ball and watch him tell you his slim down butt across the goal line. So we'll see if that happens, but I'm excited, man. I think it's going to be a great game. I hope it's close. I hope it's a nail biter down to the end, and with hopefully our team coming out on top at the very end when the whistle blows.
Oh, for sure. It's really going to be an entertaining game. We've both been waiting for it since the schedule came out of this being the week 1 matchup, Green Bay, Seattle. And if Green Bay facing Seattle, or probably will be happening in the playoffs, hopefully have you back here on for that whenever that does happen. Like I said, probably not a wild card. Hopefully not till the NFC Championship game, preferably for Green Bay to face Seattle. Seattle could face Green Bay. But I do thank you for being able to stop by to give your thoughts and heading into the Seahawks-Packers game. Anything else you would like to say on the matchup, and also welcome to just plug yourself, put yourself over. Let people know where they can find you on social media and otherwise.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It's fun to be able to talk to somebody who's in an upcoming game like this for the opening season. So, yeah, thank you. My name is, you can go by NorbCam. You can find me on YouTube, NorbCam. That's also my handle on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook. So, yeah, just look me up on NorbCam or NorbCam.com, and you'll find my videos. All kinds of videos I have there, game reactions. I'll be streaming live my reactions to the game as it's happening. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Hopefully a lot of cheering and screaming and celebrations is what I'm hoping I'll be streaming on the video. So yeah, come check me out, and yeah, go Hawks. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, and obviously on my side as a Packer fan, I do plan to see his video when he does the live streaming and everything. Don't want to see sad faces, but them enjoying themselves, but seeing Green Bay getting the win again, whether it's close or whether it's big, either way, Green Bay coming up on top. Go Pack, go! That's how we do over here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So hopefully that will be the case after 7 p.m. Central, after the game does end. Probably will go into overtime. The game should go when it's Packers against Seahawks. Welcome to follow me on Twitter at @talking_Packers. If NorbCam, or when he does have that on his Twitter, I will retweet it, let people know of this episode and other things. Send him over there, or send you guys over there to his channel. Check out his stuff. Subscribe over there. Ring the bell. Don't forget to ring the bell when you know, and be part of his notification squad just as much as you are over here to know when he does have the next live video, uploaded video, whatever video he has up. next on his plate over there. NorbCam, NorbCam. Thanks to everybody watching live and watching archived. And as always, take care.
Right.